Okay, we're at the top of the page, 217. We're actually going to go back and look at the bottom of page 216 as part of our instruction here. Because I want to point out to you that the book is showing you 3 different methods. You're probably going to develop your favorite, but I want to show you when it's appropriate to use one method or the other. Okay, so let's go back, and what we're doing here is this is called example 1, and we're deciding what kind of method we want to use. And on example 1, we decided to use proportional reasoning. And the reason why is because 25 is compatible with 100. 25 is a factor of 100, so we can just multiply it by 4 to make 100. If it were 50, we would just multiply by 2 to make 100. If it were 20, we would multiply by 5 to make 100. How I describe that is I say that the denominator 25 is compatible with 100. It's either a factor or a multiple 100. It's not always the case. So for example, question B, I wouldn't want to use proportional reasoning. It'd be very mathematically difficult to use proportional reasoning. Here's what I mean. Let's say I tried that same method here. The question reads, multiply, well, no, I don't even want to read the question because I'm going to ignore it. I'm going to pretend for B, I'm going to pretend I'm using proportional reasoning. 35% means 35 over 100, and it's going to be out of 60. And what you should notice here is that 60 doesn't go into 100. It's not compatible. So this method isn't going to work. So we're going to introduce to you a second method. And this method is to multiply by a fraction. So notice right off the bat, it's 35% of 60 would be 35 100ths of 60. So what that means, we're taking 35%, we're turning into 35 100ths, and of means times, so multiply by 60. 60 would be the same as 60 over 1. So you would multiply your fractions, 35, or your numerators, 35 times 60, and 100 times 1. So your denominator would be 100. Now I have 35 times 60, and I'm going to just go over here and I'm going to do 35 times 60 like this. And 0 times all these numbers is going to be 0. 6 times 5, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a placeholder here. Now I'm going to do 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 3 is 18. Plus 3 is 21. If you add all these up, you get 2100. And this is actually really pretty simple to simplify by zeros. If you divide by 10, you get to knock off 2 zeros. Divide by 10 again, you knock off 2 more zeros. You end up just with 21. 35% of 60 is 21. Now that's probably not even, while that I probably made that seem kind of easy, that's probably not even the easiest way to do it. Our third example, C, is a very simple, and this is what most kids choose. It says multiply by a decimal. So the whole number is 180, and the fraction is 5%. So right over here I'm going to say, well, what is 5%? 5% would be the same thing as 5 out of 100, or a 5 in the hundredths place. This is the key right here. 5% is 0.05. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply 180 times 0.05, which isn't as hard as it looks, because 5 times 0 is just 0. 5 times 8 is 40. 5 times 1 is 5. Plus 4 is 9. You get 900, kind of. It's not exactly 900 because I need to count over 1, 2 places to place my decimal. 1, 2 places to place my decimal. I get just 9. The answer is 9. Now that method right there is the one I'm going to use more often than not. I'll use proportional reasoning, or I'll multiply by a decimal. Multiply by a decimal. So the steps are to take this number and change it into a decimal, which is 0.05. If you're wondering why, it's because 5% is 5 hundredths, and 5 hundredths is a 5 in the hundredths place. And then you multiply that by the whole number. So whatever the whole number is, you multiply by the decimal, and you get your answer. The answer is 9. All right, let's move on. Question 3 reads, in B, the percent is 35%. What is the part and what is the whole? Well, if you think about a fraction, the part is the numerator, and the whole is the denominator, and the part would be the 35, and the whole would be 100. So it's going to be 35 hundredths. It's that simple. All right, question number 4. Explain how to use proportional reasoning to find 35% of 600. Well, this isn't very easy. Well, no. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. I didn't notice. I was thinking out of 60. Yeah, this is pretty simple. Watch. 35% means 35 hundredths. 600 would be the second term. How do you get from 100 to 600? Multiply by 6. So I'm going to do 35 times 6. And I actually did this on a previous page. 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 3 is 18. Plus 3 is 21. You get 210. So it says explain how to use proportional reasoning. The explanation is multiply by 6. And that's really it. That's good enough right there. And the answer is 210. It's the missing number. Alright, let's check out the bottom of the page where I'll show you what I think the best methods are. To your turn, I'm going to go ahead and make a big whiteboard. I think I'll use one whiteboard. I'll try to show all my work on all of them so you can see the different methods. Number 5. Number 5 is 38% of 50. And this is going to be a really good one for proportional reasoning because 38% means 38 100ths. And what do you notice about 50? It's exactly half of 100. So how do I get from 100 to 50? I simply divide by 2. And if you divide that term by 2, you have to divide this term by 2. You get 19. 19 out of 50 is 38%. Here's how you can check it. 19 over 50 means 19 divided by 50. 0.38. Real simple. So that one is really good for proportional reasoning. I want to remind you why. It's because 50 is a factor of 100. That's why that's a really good one for proportional reasoning. Number 6 is good for proportional reasoning as well. So 27% means 27 hundredths. And out of 300 means 300 is the second term. So how would you get from 100 to 300? You'd multiply by 3. So this is the second one in a row where proportional reasoning works really well. So I'm going to do 27 times 3. 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times 2 is 6. Plus 2 is 8. I get 81. It's 81 out of 300. I can check that by doing 81 divided by 300. And it should be 27%. It is. It's 0.27. I guess I didn't point that out on the last one. I should have. 19 divided by 50 is 38%. It's 0.38. That's 38 hundredths, which is 38%. I didn't do a good job of pointing that out before. All right, let's check out number 7. Number 7 is 60% of 75. Is this a good one for proportional reasoning? 60% means 60 hundredths out of 75. It is not. 75 doesn't go into 100. 100 doesn't go into 75. It's going to take some work to use proportional reasoning there. So I'm going to use my other method. And my other method I showed you earlier on this page, is I'm going to take my whole number 75 and I'm going to multiply that by my decimal. Now what is my decimal? We got to go think down here. What is 60% equal to? 60% is equal to 60 hundredths. 60 hundredths can simplify to 6 tenths. And 6 tenths means a 6 in the tenths place. That's it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that number right there, 0.6, and I'm going to multiply by 75. It's that simple. 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 7 is 42. Plus 3 is 45. Looks like 450 till I count my decimal, and then it's going to be 45. Put a 45 right here. What I'm going to do is then I'm going to write it like this. 45 out of 75. I think that's equal to 60%. I'm going to check my calculator here by doing 45 divided by 70. And I think that's going to be 60%. I think I punched that in wrong. It's not 70, it's 75. I did that wrong. It's not 45 out of 70, it's 45 out of 75. So now I'm going to recalculate. 45 divided by 75 is, it says 0.6, but remember earlier I decided that 0.6 is the same as 60%. So that proves that it's right. Okay, great job. You're done with page 217.